In this video, I'm talking about how to create a class, which steps you have to follow. Okay, so first, what is the content for a program, a class? Class contains these things: methods, variables, values, statements, of very little few things. If you maintain those things, program will be more easy. Method: a set of rules where values, variables, statements will be used for a desired result. Second is the variable, a kind of container which holds a kind of data. Values are data. Data is required for the program, and with the help of the data, program move on for next step. Statement: it may be input line, output line, or an expression, but everything that ends with a semicolon will be treated as statement. All these definitions are just formal use. You cannot write these things in as definition statements. So, rules for creating a class. Write import system package first. Next, create a class with class name with using class keyword. That is a class open marking. Next one, create a main function. That is the main open. Create an object of input package class. Declare and initialize variables as required. Write an introductory line for the user about the input. Store the user value into appropriate variable using appropriate input storage function rules. Finally, calculate as per requirement. Print the details as per requirement. Main close, class close. So, these things you have to follow in your code, and in future with some extra logics, extra informations, little bit these parts will be changes. So I will inform later about the changes. So that is a code: import space java.ud.star. That is the right import system package. Next one is create class with class name with using class keyword. That means public, that is a normal special. Public is not necessary to write in here. You can omit this. I love to write it, then I always use it. So you have to write class. That is my first program, so there is a class name with first program. And the curly braces, that is the class open. Okay, now declare main method. Public static void main string args third bracket close. That is curly braces, that is main open. Finally, create input package object. So that is input package is util, and the class is scanner sc equals new scanner system.in. Finally, int num1 comma num2 and sum0. Declared and initialize variables as required. Here num1 and num2 declared because I accept two values in that variable stored, and sum is for calculation purpose. So I ask user system.println enter two numbers, num1 equals sc.nextInt, num2 equals sc.nextInt, and finally sum equals, that is the calculative, that is the calculation part. Calculation equals num1 plus num2. Finally, print statement as per requirement, sum of two numbers is sum. So that is a program. Now I do a program like I have an example, this one. Write a program by using class employee. The class name is already defined here. To accept basic pay of an employee, just follow where you have to where is a word like input or accept. That will be the program input. To accept basic of an employee, calculate the allowances or deductions as per given table. Finally, find and print the gross and net pay. With using this table, allowances or deductions, DNS and DA, rate 25% of basic pay, house rent HRA 15% of basic pay, provident fund PF 8.33% of basic pay, gross pay equals basic pay plus DNS allowance plus house rent allowance, net pay equals gross pay minus provident fund. So first you have to accept the basic pay of an employee. Next one, you have to calculate with using this table and this formula also. Finally, you have to print the details. So I create class with, I think class will be employee with EMPLOYEE. Just see, yeah, class will be employee. So first I write system package java.util.star semicolon. Next, class with class name. Finally, I write public static void main and that is the class open, that is the class close. Now create object of input package class, scanner s equals new scanner system.in. So SC is just an object name, you can use any name. I use SC as this SC. So I declare few variables. Here first I have to accept basic and I need few double variables. Why I use double variables? Because just see the question, 25% of basic pay, 15% and 8.33%. So there is a chances of fractional values. If the basic pay is 5,555, then the 25% must be a fractional number. That means, and if DNS, HRA and PF will be double, obviously gross and net pay obviously be double. So I use all double type variables in my code except basic. Double DA, HRA, PF, gross and net. I use these few variables. So finally I ask user to enter the basic pay of an employee. So I store like basic equals, as it is an integer value, so I use sc.nextInt. Okay, now I have to calculate DA, that is 25% of basic. So I write basic asterisk 0.25. Now you say I write like 25 by 100, but you have to write like this. If you want to write this like, you have to write basic into 25.0 and 100.0. This is more difficult, and 25 by 100 always must be a 0.25. So it's better whenever you get a percentage value, first divide with the 100, then you write HRA equals 15% of basic pay. So basic asterisk 0.15. Now PF equals I think 8.33 of basic pay. So I write Where's my code? Okay, basic asterisk 0.0833. Finally, I have to calculate gross, that is basic plus DA plus HRA, and finally net equals gross minus PF. Finally, I have to print gross pay plus gross. Now just see why I write like this. I want to print gross pay as normal text. That's why I have to use a string part. So I use this one, and gross as a variable. So I have to concatenate. This one is string, this one is a variable, and plus is used as concatenation. So whenever you have to write like a print statement, you have to write like this. So I just copy this line, and then it will be net pay equals net. So that is the question's answer actually, but I prefer you print more values. First one is basic pay. Just print the basic. Why I write? Because this will be a complete state answer. Dearness allowance. Because if you think employee got his salary sheet and see the total salary is now that a certain amount. So maybe you have a question which allowance, how many allowance, which kind of value he get, house rent allowance. So if you print maximum values, it will be good for your program. Maybe you will not get more marks, but it will be very effective. Provident fund will be PF. Complete. So finally I compile employee. Now basic pay, I use 10,000, easiest value. So if I use 10, that is 25%, 25,000, 2,500, housing 1,500, gross pay it means 1,400, because 10,000, 2,500, 1,500, 1,400, 833 is the provident fund. So net pay is 13,167. So that is the program of house rent allowance. The next question is this one. A shopkeeper offers 10% discount on the printed price of a digital camera. However, the customer has to pay 6% sales tax on the remaining amount. Write a program in Java to calculate the amount to be paid by the customer, taking printed price as an input. I already said find the word input, and the nearest words and the nearest part will be your input. So you have to accept a printed price in that program. Okay, now you have to calculate using 10% discount. Discount means must be less value. You already know about discount. And sales tax means if printed price is 100, the 10% will be 10 rupees. Just give an example. Just think, if printed price is 100 Okay, then the discount of 10% is rupees 10, so the value will be 90, and 96% 6% of 90 rupees is 5.4. It means the customer have to pay 95.40, because this part you have to delete and this part you have to add. That is a discount, means deduction, and tax means addition. Okay, so what you have to do, I think this time no class name, so I use payment import space java dot util dot star semicolon. Now delete public static void main string args scanner s equals new scanner system dot in. Next, I need variables like int printed price, printed underscore price. Then I get discount and a tax, so it will be double as it will be in percentage. So I use discount and tax. So next part is ask a question to user, enter the printed price, then printed price equals sc dot next int. So discount equals printed price into 0.10, and tax equals printed price into minus discount asterisk 0.06. So final amount pay, so I need another variable final amount. So final amount equals printed price minus discount plus tax. System dot out dot println final amount paid by customer. Final underscore amount. Try to use a full length variable name. It will be easy for you and for your teacher also, or you can say your examiner also. A mistake, sorry for the plus sign. So I use a printed price as I say, the final amount paid by the customer is something. So the last program is Mr. Samlal Agarwal invests certain sum at 5% per annum compound interest for 3 years. Write a program in Java to calculate interest for the first year, interest for the second year, and the amount after 3 years. Okay. Take sum as an input from the user. So there are no class name. So I write compound int. Import space java dot util dot star semicolon delete. Now write public static void main string args. Now scanner s equals new scanner system dot in. Now I need more variables, so I first need principal, comma, and now all are double type, like first int, second int, third int, n principal, and yeah, I think these variables are okay. Then I have to write system println enter the principal amount. So principal equals sc dot next int. You can also take principal as double, nothing matter, but first int, second int, third int, n principals are must be in double because there is a percentage issue. So first int equals principal into rate, that is 0.05 into 1. So that is the first interest. Now after this, after the first year interest, a new principal will be generated, that is new principal equals last principal plus first year interest. So second year interest will be on new principal into 0.05 into 1 year, and again new principal equals new principal plus second int. that is third int equals n principal into 0.05 into 1, and finally new principal equals n principal plus third int. So just see, that is the first year interest. So after the first year interest, the first year interest will be added with the last principal. So last principal, first year interest will be the new principal for the second year. So second year calculate with new principal, that is 0 and 5% interest. Finally second year interest will be calculated, and last year principal and the second interest will be again added with, and find the new principal for the third year. And finally after getting the third year interest, I got the final amount that is paid to the customer, paid to the bank or the loan holder. So system.out.println, that is first year interest plus first int now just copy 3 times, and again I am printing the third year interest, but in our question there are no third year interest, no need of printing third year interest, but for complete answer I print third interest, second interest S will be in small, and finally the final amount pay, that is n principal. So if I enter 10,000, so the answer will be first year interest will be 500, second year interest added with the 500, so that means 10,500, 5% is 525, and finally third year interest and the final amount pay 11576.25. So that will be the complete program. Tada, goodbye.